Okay, we're going to go back to the 90s for 5 interesting albums. And we're going to start off with a classic one. This is Eternity by Anathema. I made another video talking about Anathema, and I mentioned that this is their first or second best album. I'd say it's probably tied with Judgment as their best one. But despite being aware of this album since its release in 1996, I have never had a physical copy until more recently. But I am a little bit disappointed that I got this 2003 reissue with all these bonus tracks at the end. What is there? There's a couple acoustic songs and a live song. And when it comes to a classic album, I just want the album as it was intended, no more, no less. And if you really want to put some bonus material on it, maybe put on a second disc that's not interrupting the flow. But what are you going to do? So, this album artwork, iconic to me. My favorite songs are definitely The Beloved and Angelica. The guitar solo on The Beloved, one of my favorites. And 1996, how old was I then? I was probably 14, but just really brings me back to the good old days. I remember The Beloved was on a sampler, and that's where I first became aware of this. But this was a big change in styles. They were kind of leaving behind the doom metal of the past, the harsh vocals of the past. And I didn't like the vocals back in the day, but again, this album has endured as a classic. I remember one of the times I saw Paul Bearer, maybe this was like 5 years ago. Brett was wearing an Eternity shirt on stage, and it was just another reminder of it, that album. Yeah, gotta get a copy of that. So, next up, this is Hell Dorado by Wasp. This came out on CMC in 1999. So Wasp, I love the first 2 albums. I know some of their other stuff, but I remember the album KFD came out probably in 96, and that was more of an industrial release, kind of some Marilyn Manson influences. A lot of people didn't like it. I'm not too familiar with that album, but I did hear the song Little Death, and I always thought that song was really good. So I've always been kind of open-minded to checking out KFD again. But in any case, the fans didn't like that. There was a bit of a backlash, and this was a return to the rock and roll style of old. Overall, I'm just going to give this like a 3 out of 5. I remember it getting pretty positive reviews at the time. But when I look back now, it's somewhat ordinary. And I think a lot of fans put this kind of closer to the bottom of their rankings of the band's albums. Okay, so this isn't a full album, but this is a compilation called Cutting Edge Metal by Head Not Found Records. So if you didn't know, Head Not Found were a Norwegian label ran by Metallion, who was definitely a fixture of the Norwegian black metal scene. And he was the he was the man behind Slayer zine, which was a big deal back then. So what's on here? The names that stick out the most are Ragnarok and Winder. Those are 2 Norwegian bands. You got Twin Obscenity, who I think were a Swedish band. Hemlock, the American black metal band. And a bunch of other names. Crest of Darkness, Netherworld, Paradigma, Sybil, Figleaf, Valhalla, Atrox, Adorior, Forlorn. Some familiar names, some unfamiliar names. I bought this on vacation in Sweden last year. I always loved the 90s, how they'd advertise future and past releases. Some people think that kind of cheapens it or commercializes it, but I don't know. Just brings me back. What's that? Troll. There's Hemlock there. Treldom. Emperor, Wrath of a Tyrant, and most probably infamously is the debut album by Over. So again, more of a compilation, but a time, a place, a label, a style. Happy having my collection. And similarly, we have a Black Mark tribute. So this was put out, it was probably 1997 on Black Mark Productions. So they had a variety of artists on Black Mark, each doing a cover song of their own and releasing it all together. So what do you have on here? You got some weird ones and some not so weird ones, but you have Soulquake System doing Firestarter by The Prodigy. Memento Mori doing Sold My Soul by Nazareth. Necrophobic doing Ridden by Disease by Autopsy. World of Silence doing Strawberry Fields Forever by The Beatles. Quorthon of Bathory fame doing a solo rendition of the Sex Pistols' God Save the Queen. Tad Morose doing Power of the Night by Sabotage. Divine Sin. Eternal Dark by Picture. Not too aware of them. Hexenhaus, War by Edvin Starr. Corporal Punishment, It's a Sin by the Pet Shop Boys. Bathory, Ace of Spades by Motorhead. And I actually like that one the most. I heard a lot of people say, like, what is this? It's a bad cover of Ace of Spades. It's a bad version of Bathory. But I think it's just kind of unique, and I think it's just kind of a cool cover. Nightingale doing Uriah Heep's Return to Fantasy. Edge of Sanity doing Invisible Sun by The Police, or sorry, Sting. No, The Police. And finally, Morgana Le Fay covering Parasite by Kiss. So, definitely hit and miss, but very 90s. And again, another cool thing I like having around. Faith No More, Who Cares a Lot, The Greatest Hits. Are they metal? Not really, but a lot of metal fans love Faith No More. And there are some things here that make it worthy of discussion. There's a bonus disc here that has 8 songs. This Guy's in Love with You by Burt Bacharach. I quite like that one. A Highway Star cover, Deep Purple, a couple demos, an instrumental, a couple new songs, at least to me. So it kind of makes it worthy to be in a Faith No More fans collection. But the main disc of the main greatest hits, that's the one I play the most. It's a good collection. I mean, The Gentle Art of Making Enemies, Digging the Grave, Evidence from King for a Day, underrated album. You got the hits like Easy, Epic, We Care a Lot, but it's just that's like a 10 out of 10 release. Just despite being a collection, every song is amazing. So that's it for now. Thanks for watching.